Behind me might be the workbench that your shop has been missing, and something that I didn't realize that I desperately needed, while also being probably one of the best Facebook Marketplace deals that I've gotten in a while. So let me show you it. This is a hydraulic lifting table that I picked up from a motor rewinding shop for 250 bucks. And it is awesome, but today we're gonna fix a few things and make it even better. I wanna make it a little more mobile, pair it with an awesome bench vise that needs a tiny bit of work to be perfect, and we'll fix a lingering electrical problem that I think should be easy to handle. So let's get right into it.
So the first thing I want to do is address the casters on this table. Now the table itself is very heavy. I didn't get a chance to weigh it, but it's gotta be 300-400 pounds, if not more. And it's got these fixed casters on one side and some swiveling casters on the other. Now, because my shop is kind of tight, it's very hard to move it around with the fixed casters on one side. So I'm going to switch these off for these really large rubber wrapped pivoting casters with locks. I've used these exact same casters on a few other heavy things around my shop, and I think these are going to be good. They'll help me roll over little obstacles. Now, the casters that were on there were bolted to some plate that was welded to the bottom, and I was going to try to make like pretty large adapter plates and then cut these off and weld the adapter plates on and have these short little threads. And I just didn't think there was enough of a value in the time it was going to take to make those plates and adapters. So I decided I would just weld these right to the bottom of the table. Now, future me may be really upset that I did this because it's very hard to change out casters when they're welded on, but I think these are going to work out really well, and I think that it's probably worth the future effort to just weld these on for now. And then you saw right there, I did have to weld a little bit of the actual frame of this back to the base, and I have no idea the history of this table, but I have to imagine that this was just kind of a hydraulic scissor lift that somebody built a base for and then eventually put some wheels on and then put this plate on top of it. I don't believe this was sold as like a factory table itself, maybe just like a lift for machinery. So this came out of a motor rewinding shop, and it was very, very, very dirty when I first got it. I've already given it kind of like a quick wipe down, but now I'm going to really go ahead and get it clean and degrease it with some WD-40 Specialist degreaser. This is an industrial strength degreaser in an aerosol with that flip up little straw that's attached to the nozzle. That's really good for getting into hard to reach places, and this stuff is incredibly strong. It really just eats away at grease without even having to touch it in some cases, like right there where I just sprayed it in all these kind of nooks and crannies, and it just takes away all that dirt and grime. And like I said, this thing was pretty filthy. So you can see the hydraulic system down there. I did check it. Everything seems good. There was no leaks. Everything was working well. And it is a very compact and tidy system that I don't want to go ahead and mess with. So I'm going to sort of leave it alone. And once I get the base clean, I can start to address the top. Now, I believe this was at one point covered in carpet, because this looks like the remnants of carpet glue, and I go through kind of a two-step process to remove that residue. This is a paint stripping wheel on my die grinder, and then I switch over to a wire wheel to get the rest of it off, and I'll go ahead and just kind of quickly wire wheel the top. Now there's a lot of like grime and mill scale all over this, and I'm going to be using this really cool diamond coated wire wheel to get the whole plate really clean, because I'm going to be working on kind of sensitive things on this and I don't want to contaminate anything. I want to get rid of the rust and the mill scale. And if you're not familiar with these diamond coated wire wheels, I've done videos about these before. It's a very specialty item from Pferd abrasives, but I'm going to show you the comparison between a normal knotted wire wheel and the diamond coated wheel. So the normal cupped wire wheel, while it is great for removing rust, it doesn't really touch mill scale or any of kind of the deeper imperfections or deeper surface when you're trying to clean up plate. But the diamond wheel just absolutely eats right through it. It's incredible the way that this wheel removes mill scale. Now you'll see it's kind of like almost leaving some rust residue behind. That's stuff that's a little bit deeper because I'm very, very lightly brushing across the surface with this. Now, this isn't the kind of thing you're going to use on every project, but if you do anything with plate with mill scale on it or any decorative work, you definitely want to check out the diamond wire wheels, and I'll link to the actual full video where I go into a lot more detail on those in the description of this. Now this is the control box for the up and down motion. It is hydraulic power up, and then it is a kind of passive drop down, and there are 2 foot switches in there. And what I've been noticing as I've been using this over the last couple of months is that the up switch is intermittent. Sometimes when I press it, it'll bring the table right up. Sometimes it won't work at all. I'll hear like a click. and I think it's due to a loose wire or a loose connection inside the foot pedal. So I'm going to just clean up the enclosure box. This is just kind of a safety thing to keep it so that you don't accidentally hit the up or down and crush yourself or lift something inadvertently. So I'm just cleaning that up, and then you'll get a closer look inside the foot pedals when I kind of zoom in here. I'm just labeling them up and down so I don't forget. And the issue is on the up pedal. Now, again, this is very kind of tidy and tight the way everything was put together, but I am going to use just some WD-40 Specialist contact cleaner to clean any of the contacts in there. And right away, as I'm sort of taking this apart, I noticed that this connection here, which is the hot side, those black wires, was not tight when I took this apart. I could see it moving around. So I think what was happening was I was maybe getting like a short or a bad ground. So I'm just going to clean everything up, like I said, with that contact cleaner, just to make sure that there's no any corrosion or anything there. This stuff is great. It dries like really, really quickly, so you don't have any liquid that's going to cause any shorts. And then I just tightened up all the connections and reinstalled these screws. And I'm hoping that kind of that's it. I really don't want to have to replace any components on these pedals because I have a feeling they'll be hard to find. And I think that a loose connection is the best thing you can find when you're trying to diagnose an electrical issue, because that's typically the culprit. So I just put everything back together. This is all just bolted into this little enclosure, and then that is done, and we'll go ahead and just clean up the bottom so I'm not pushing rust all around the floor, and then we can go ahead and test it. But before I do that, I'm going to replace the plug end because the little ground post had broken off of that at some point. So I bought a heavy-duty plug end from Home Depot, and these are really easy to do. You just kind of strip back the wires, and I try to do these, again, super tight so that there's a good grab on the strain relief, which is the part that keeps you from accidentally pulling the cable out. And I like these heavy-duty plug ends. So with that plugged in, it looks like I'm getting a good contact now, up and down, and later on I'll make some up and down stickers, but for now a Sharpie labeling system is going to be fine. Now to add a great accessory to this table, and this is a swivel jaw bench vise that I restored a couple of years ago, and I did a whole video on that, and I found this hitch mounted vise mount system on Amazon, and it came with a really chintzy kind of hitch sized 2x2 bracket, but that really wasn't strong enough, and it wasn't really like the right layout. So I bought these two 6-inch long 2-inch hitch receivers on Amazon, and you'll see I'm just cutting off some of the lips so that it can sit nice and flush with the bottom of the table. Now you'll see the way that this works. There's a plate on a bar, and that'll slip right in there, but in order to make it so that the vise is tight and doesn't rattle at all, I drilled a hole inside those little 6-inch hitch receivers, and I'm going to be just welding on a 3/8 weld nut so that I can then put a thumb screw that will tighten up against the mount and keep the whole thing really, really rigid and tight. When you're working on a vise, you want things to be tight. You don't want everything kind of wiggling around. So just by bolting these on, you can see now I can tighten up a pinch point on that vise mount, which will keep it from moving. And I'm going to be welding two of these, one to each side of the table in the orientation that I plan on kind of having it in my shop facing outward. Now looking back, I probably should have gotten 4 of these and put one in each corner, but there may be a moment where I want to have a thin plate on the corner so that I can get a clamp on it more easily. So for now, I'm just going to keep these 2 on the opposing corners so that I can use the vise on the left side or the right side of the bench. Now, because this top plate is just mild steel, it's very easy for me to weld these on. And these hitch mounts from Amazon are also unpainted mild steel, so they weld on really quickly. And you can see the way that this system works. And now you can see the vise sitting on there. Now we're going to have to do a slight modification to this vise. Because of the orientation that the vise sits on this plate, I can't actually get it to sit square to the table. There are little holes inside the base of the vise that a pin indexes into, and it's just not designed to sit in that orientation. But that's okay. We'll do a quick modification to the base of this vise, which will make it exactly where I need to go. So I made a little Sharpie mark on the side, and then you'll understand a little bit better when I disassemble the base and see how the locking mechanism works. You see all those holes, and they're in a pattern that just doesn't allow you to have the vise in the position that I need. So all I did there was just make a little mark where I marked on the side of the vise when it was in the thing, and I'm using my big drill press here, which I just put that right angle drill on the side of to move things around, and I believe this is a 5/8 drill bit, and I'm just going to start drilling out the cast iron to add another hole. I don't see any reason that this would be detrimental to the vise itself. There's already plenty of holes in it, and by adding one more, it's just going to make it that much more functional. Now these holes have a slight taper to them, so I'm sort of test fitting as I go, and I'm just using a little angled carbide burr to open up that hole to make it fit perfectly. And what's nice is every time I kind of put this thing together, I'm getting a little bit of a witness mark in the hole, which is helping me know where to grind. And now once I've got it fully seated, I can clean everything off, and I'm going to go ahead and use a unitizing disc here to kind of burnish and polish the surfaces on the swivel base so that everything glides really nicely. And then I'll use a little bit of WD-40 Specialist dry lubricant on everything just so that it all moves really nicely when it's up and mounted on the table. Tightening back up that swivel base lock bolt will keep this thing tight. You go all the way tight, then you back it off like a quarter turn, and then I can bolt this vise down to that universal bench mount. Now this is a great vise because of that swivel jaw, and it's not too huge, so it'll be good for sort of delicate work. It has pretty smooth jaws in it. They have a slight serration to them, but smooth enough that it'll be good for sensitive work. And once I get everything all tightened up, I can kind of show you how these swivel jaw vices work if you're not familiar. But before I do that, I'm going to just kind of finish up the locking bolts. These are those thumb screws. I didn't have like a fixed kind of thumb screw, so I just took a 3/8 bolt, put it through these star nuts, and then I welded a nut onto the bottom. Now here you can see the way that swivel jaw vise works. By taking out that pin and tightening the vise, it'll automatically conform to a tapered object like this wrench, which you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. The other really cool thing about this universal bench mount is that I can turn the vise on its side because there are holes in both directions, and now I have a really unique sort of vertical use swivel jaw vise, which I feel like with a adjustable height table will be super, super useful. And then this thing comes and goes really easily. It's super easy to pull that pin out, tighten everything up, and take the vise off. And here it is again. It's 24 inches all the way down, 57 inches when it reaches the top. And if you're interested in buying or building one of these, I'll put some links in the description as to where you can get some commercial parts to make one for a couple $100. Thanks so much for watching.